So I made a post on IG and a lot of people asked me questions in that post, and I really do appreciate you guys for doing so. And it was about the G Master Bus Compressor and what am I doing with it. And I'm just gluing my drums together, and this is a really strong tool for gluing your drums, and I will show you why in this particular instance. Also, I'll talk about torque as well, since that has a lot to do with the drums, even though it's not relevant to this track, as well as smack attack bars. So with that, I know a lot of people are asking me, well, man, they don't sell G Master Bus Compressor by itself. They're doing it right now, and it's for 29 bucks. If you use the link in the description box, you will get an extra 10% off, and it will help support this channel as well as give you a nice little discount on top of the discount. So let's go. I'm gonna play a track. It is a synthwave track. I know it's not trap, but please bear with me and let's enjoy it for what it is. Main thing I want to talk about the G Master Bus Compressor is the fact that it glues stuff very well. Now I'm going to bypass it and we're going to listen to the drums. So the original drums have a lot of reverb in it, and the reason why it does is because it's relevant to the synthwave genre and how 80s music was produced. But there's things that reverb does that I don't like, and that's with this presence, it starts to cloud up the mix. So how would I control that? Well, as simple as me just going ahead and turning it on. So now I have the reverb, I have the presence, and I'm using the G Master Bus Compressor much like a volume envelope that will give you a little bit more drive and snap. The main thing I like about this glue compressor here is that it shines in the attack department. So now let's go to point one. I definitely want you guys to hear how much is being glued together. And I know people are going to point out that the drums are hitting extremely hard, that they're clipping on their hardware, but in the digital world, it's not clipping. So as you can see that. But the main thing that it's doing right now is that it is keeping the transients of the reverb in control. So what I'm going to do is I have it on 1 millisecond right now, and I'm also going to show you something in the release as well. So the relevance of it being the attack versus the release here is just like a volume envelope. But one thing I want you guys not to overcomplicate compression. It's just to think of compression as a volume envelope, because that's what it is. It is controlling the volume, much like if you was using the ADSR on any other synthesizer or anything. That's what it does. It's controlling the volume, the amplitude. So now that I have the release at 0.1 seconds here, you will hear the huge difference of how much reverb is coming in at the tail end. 0.3, 6, and then back to 1.2. Now you can hear the relevance of the release and how strong it is. Now, there are other things. Of course, makeup gain will just make things louder after you compress things. Also, the threshold here, I don't have that much compression going on with the threshold, but if I was to squish it down, it would sound stupid. And of course, you have your ratio and then your rate. So there's another thing that I want to point out too, because there is side chaining in this, but it actually works in relevance to whatever is in that particular bus that you have it on. So I have my drum bus with my kick and my snare. So if I was to bring every musical element back in, you would hear that the side chaining will make the drum stick out in front of the mix, which is very helpful as well. So let's hear that. So now you can hear that the kick and the snare is dominating the mix. Now you probably might not want that. You might not want your drums to be that loud, but I tell you what, when it comes down to how most engineers are doing it these days, they definitely have their drums in the forefront. Another relevant tool that I wanted to talk about is Torque here, which is a drum tone shifter. So I do have this again on this drum bus, and it's again a useful tool. This focus area in particular is really strong. I'm going to go ahead and solo the drums again so we can hear just the drums. And let's mess with the focus area, which acts as a pseudo filter when you use it like this. But what you're doing is you're picking out the part of the transient that you want to shape in the actual percussion. So with that, you can see a lot of things that are going on with this as far as the tonality changing of the drum. So it's a good way to actually kind of flip people out with what type of drums that you're using, and just to change things up musically. With this, even though I know again it's peaking, and I don't want you guys to freak out. Calm down. Nobody's gonna die. There's still like a relative problem with these drums being this low. They're all over the place. Like you can actually hear that the drums are just spreading out in the beat. So if I was to play this in relevance to the melody now, you can see there's no control and it's kind of just like mushy a little bit. And you can actually see that in the spectrum analysis too. I can fix that with the SSL. So let's hear it with it. Without it. Now let's take out I'm gonna take out the melody and focus on the drum. So let's hear it without the compression right now. And now let's hear it with it. You can hear the amount of control that you have now on your drums. Next on the list is Smack Attack, which is the transient shaper. Now this one right here is great for changing the amount of tone that's going on with your drums as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some negative attack. Let's hear it with some negative attack. So you can see where the transient shaping starts and begins, and you can hear how the attack is affecting it. And of course, you have different durations and different shapes of your attack. Which affect it in many different ways. You can also mess with the sustain, of course. So let's mess with that in real time. Yeah, really crazy. So another thing, of course, you have other relevant parts where you can change the clip to clip mode. To limiter. Or just turn it off. Now this tool right here is just really good for like creativity as well. It's a really strong tool. You also can parallel, of course. You can do that with the wet and dry mix over here. So that way you can keep some of the original signal and then some of the process signal as well. So just let me know in the comment section how you feel about this, and if you want me to talk more about compression as well, because there are some other things that I really want to get off my chest about that. Tell me other things that you want me to cover mixing wise, and I will do so. I appreciate you for your time. I'm always reading the comments and I'm always responding as much as humanly possible. Thank you so much.